Hey everyone, today's masterclass is a little different than the ones we've done in the past. It, we're really going to dedicate this to what we really consider an urgent issue that really has been going on for a couple of years now, but it's really kind of coming to a head. And it really has to do with holding off on a construction project to either time it so that you think, oh, materials might go down, or interest rates or whatever.
Yeah,
But what we're seeing right now is that the permitting side of holding off is more detrimental to anything that you may save. It could be as bad as not even being able to do the project at all. And not just cost wise, but you might not even be able to do the project. The lot that you look at may not be able to get perked. The full house renovation that you're trying to do, you may not have room for the additional drywall that they may require. So really, we're telling people, don't hold off. It could cost you dearly, and is detrimental as not even going to do the project. So if you're in the middle of planning something, I would move forward as quickly as possible so that not only will it save you money, but hopefully it'll save you a lot of time and aggravation too of having to change plans and things like that.
absolutely. We are working every day on increasing the speed or focusing on getting these permits
Yeah.
that in place and getting the approved permit in hand so that we're in control. And that way, like Scott's saying, that we're uh, eliminating the potential unknowns, the additional costs, which we're seeing more and more of these days. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we move forward here.
One of the things that we're seeing no matter what is the fees are going up. So, you think you're going to save some by maybe waiting some time, and the fees, the additional work that they're requiring to have
Yep.
done on the site, which we know that was a big change from when, well, very little site work needed to be done to now pretty much there's pretty extensive site work, even on a home renovation, that they're requiring the dry wells, the swales, the sediment control, and also it has to be drawn for the most part by a civil engineer, which that also is adding to the cost. So what you don't want to do is wait and find out, in a year from now or 6 months from now, or even 2 months from now, now they're going to require this.
Exactly. Their requirements have changed. You need to add a dry well to support this lot, this addition,
Yep.
or this new home.
Yeah. And so basically, well, the project that I think kind of really showcases how the county, how really the health department, which we know out of all the issues, the health department, and not just this particular the Kennedy project was in Howard County, but we know it's all the counties
Yes.
and including the district. Now the district has different issues because obviously it's water and sewer there, but even where it is water and sewer in the counties, there's a lot of stipulations on how you can tap into it. Are they going to make you increase the size of the water line? Are you going to need the sprinkler? Which, for the most case, everything new needs to have a sprinkler system. But how does that impact your water line? And how is it going to change, in a year from now? Or is there going to be further requirements for, what's going to be needed, either tank size and things like that? Are they going to make you have not just 15 minutes of water if you're on a well, but maybe it's going to be a half an hour? And I know that they're talking about that so that it's not just allowing someone to get out of the structure, but it's also going to try to save the structure too.
You definitely bring up an interesting point there. Not only on the dry wells, but gas line, water line sizing, and things like that. It's the way we're gonna be able to finalize that is, once we have that permit in hand, we know those costs. And so, once it's in hand, they may change something down the road and the cost won't go up, they won't be,
Even the next week, they can change.
yeah,
And,
yes.
and what's nice is once the permit's in, there is no more,
You're locked in.
whatever the codes are at that point.
Exactly.
That's what you're required to do. With the Kennedy project, we started out, this was a new build. We looked at lots for probably about 6 months, trying to find the right lot for this, for the Kennedy family. And we thought we found the perfect lot. It was actually 2 lots, and they were both perked and had
Approved.
Yep, perked
By the health department.
recorded at the county. And that used to be, if it was recorded, it was almost gold. A recorded lot in any of the counties meant you could just pretty much go and build.
You would then show where the house was going on the lot, and then boom, you were ready to get going through the building permit process. But now they're changing the game.
And what we found out quickly was what we thought was just going to be sort of a simple pre-construction meeting, which we have all the time with the county,
Right.
Turned into we're not approving these perk that were done. We don't feel that the perk was done properly. We don't like the consistency of the soil. And it's just so arbitrary as to how they're determining it. But ultimately, so they said we needed to re-perk. And unfortunately, that was a wet season lot. So we had to wait 5 months to re-perk, which delayed the project. And then what they decided at that point was we couldn't go with a conventional system.
So you're not only going through the expense of re-perking, the delays Scott mentioned, and then changing the system. How much that can cost? How much? I mean, you're gonna know better than I on the actual costs on that project.
Well, and the problem that came about there is that not only was the design already done for the conventional system,
Forgot about that.
that basically they said we couldn't do a conventional anymore, and that they wanted to do a sand dome. And we had to find 2 reserve areas on that lot for the sand dome. And yes, the cost went from right around 30 for a conventional system with tank and everything to it was over $80,000 with the sand mound that was designed, and we had to increase the tank size and the pumping chamber. So if you had waited even a month, all those things could have changed. And so we're really just saying, if you're ready to go with your project and have the investment and everything looks good, don't try to time it. Don't try to guess our price is going to be lower next year or whatever, because the things that are happening at the counties with their fees, the health department, the civil engineer, is just it's gonna wipe out any savings you might get. And then inflation, I know we've talked about this a lot because we get that question a lot, should I wait? And in the past, we used to say it was probably okay to wait. But now with the uncertainty with the permitting and everything, we say do it now. And most cases, when we've looked back, inflation really wiped out any sort of savings, or it was flat. So you waited a year and you didn't save anything. But about 75% of the time we saw it just cost more because everything was costing more. So it didn't really make sense to wait. And now with permitting on top of that, you really don't want to wait any longer. Just get it in for permitting.
At least have it in place so that those costs are locked in. And then you're, like Scott's saying, you don't have to worry about additional requirements during the course of the project. Oh, now we have to add this. It's not the case.
And some of those additional requirements, I know you just came up against on a project that we just permitted with the the HVAC and the,
Exactly, that was in Montgomery County, and I think more and more counties are gonna start doing this, where at the initial building permit. That's usually all you would submit, but now they're requiring all the mechanical information. For mechanical being HVAC, they want all that data at the time of the building permit. So that's the expense, the additional time that's required to gather that information. In the past, we would uh, submit and get the building permit, get the project started, and while we were doing that, we would work on the electrical, the trades, the mechanical permits. Now, they need that information up front, so that's taking time, and again, adding to the time before we are ready to start.
and one of the things that just becomes even more apparent, is. How important the process is, which. One of the things that we really stress when we're sitting down with someone the first time is that. We're gonna do a construction set of drawings and we're gonna do a permit set of drawings. The permit set of drawings, usually we can do depending on what the project is, obviously, usually within a couple months. And that way we can get it submitted very quickly to the county. That stops anything that they may start to try to implement or changes that they've made. And we can continue to work on the construction side that has all the selections.
Exactly, the finishes, the details, and if you're, you know what, let's move this door over slightly, those kinds of things, but. Once that permit set is in for review. Again, like Scott's saying, it's locked in on those costs, and that does. The site work, things like that, all of that has been finalized and the costs are set.
And even on the Kennedy project. We had submitted those drawings. There was a change in their circumstances where the in-laws were gonna be there. At the time when we did the drawings, it was gonna be frequently. What we realized as we got into the actual well, finalizing the drawings with them after we'd already submitted for permit, was that they were gonna be there almost all the time. So what we needed to do was expand that sort of that wing, that in-law area. And we were able to just redline the drawings. We changed the footprint of the house a little bit. But the permit was already issued, or not issued, but they were already working. So it still kept us, without knowing 100% what we were doing, we were able to redline, make those changes without having anything change through the county with either building code or
And the site work.
Right. So it's imperative to when you're ready to go and not try to time the market or guess what interest rates or whatever it may be, why you may say let's wait for a better time. Really, if the project's right and ready to go, you want to do it as quickly as possible.
And we always ask during our initial meet and greet, and we have some questions that we will talk to our potential clients about, like what is the back end deadline? Is there an event or certain benchmark that you want to have the project completed by? And in the past, we would work backwards and see how we could work through these details. But right now, we're finding we've got to get started right away and get that permit in, and then that gives us some time to make sure that we're achieving the goals that you're looking for.
And the other thing that it does do, if there are some surprises through the health department, maybe we do have to reprogram it. It allows you to have that buffer of time, but also if there is additional fees or costs, it allows us to not find out while we're starting construction, but find out at the beginning, and maybe we can replan if there are something additional that would need to be done. We can work it into the actual.
Still make sure the project gets done.
Yep.
And maybe and we've talked about this before, where is it designing for phases in the future, things like that, but make sure that we're working to get you the finished project that you're looking for.
And one other reason to not wait is no matter what, if there are no issues with the health department or anything like that, you know that the fees are gonna be continually going up, because we see that every
See it in
single
the
year.
news every day.
The permitting, it costs more each year, and so the sooner you get that in, then you're not, the impact fees and things like that will be less this year than they certainly will be next year.
Then everything is set. The permit's in your pocket, you're ready to go. The fees are set.
So really, I guess the what we're trying to convey is, if you're ready to do a project, get the permit in now. Don't try to time the market. The things that could happen will be way worse than any little bit of money that you may save, but most likely it's gonna cost you more if you wait any amount of time, just with the additional fees from the county. And any inflation that would take place.
And if you're thinking about a project and you're thinking, well, what could affect my project, give us a call and we can talk about it and see what potential hurdles there may be and unforeseen costs that you haven't been thinking about, and we can work through those and see how we can either eliminate those or minimize those by getting started right away.
Absolutely. Give us a ring, fill out the contact form. We're here to help. We've been doing it for over 30, well, it'll be 33 years this year. And we've seen a lot of different things come about. So we have a lot of ideas of how we can help you make your project go as smooth as possible.
That's what we're here for.
Thanks for watching.